This time I'm not going to screw this one up. Press A, up, down, left, right, right, left, down, up, and then press start. And then higher options, hold A, B, C, and then start. I shift the difficulty to easy, controls to reverse, and the player's lives. Because of my 2 cheat codes, I was able to, instead of using the continue option, I press start. Accidentally press pause here, and after several grind sessions of Super Thunderblade, I think I finally got a run that I feel rather proud of. Granted, there were some sloppy bits this time, but at least I made it through to the very end without having to use a continue. Now, if I were to do this on a hard difficulty, I would basically hub the top right or top left corners because none of the bullets will hit you there in those 2 places. This does not work on the easy or normal difficulties. And, by the ways, and it does not work at all on level 4. Well, technically it does work at level 4. It's completely useless in that level, however. I'll show you why. Anyways, you want to reverse the controls because the default is inverse. Down is up is down. And it's very awkward trying to control this thing when the controls are inverted. Anyways, for the most part, this is probably the most the best I've done for level 1 up until the end where I die a couple times. Yeah. The general consensus is to basically go round and around at level 4 over and over again. But you don't want to make big circles. You mostly want to go up and down and then slightly left and right. The reason for this is due to those buildings. And then when the trees, well, the trees aren't too big a problem here in this game. Now for the plot of Super Thunderblade. The plot is that there's a terrorist group with some secret weapons you have to stop. And you have to stop them. I just defeated the first boss, and though there are only 4 levels, there are 5 bosses in total. I'll show you why, and again, I'll show you why. There's a big boss in each of the 4 levels, and then the final. Well, I'll get to that a bit later. And then there's the final run, which is a boss onto itself. Anyways, here comes the vertical scroller section. You know, the top-down section. Can't move up and down, so just left and right. My strategy is simple in these sections. Just only move left and right when you need to, in response to a bullet being fired. I got a little too cocky there, so I died. Anyways, why am I playing this game? Technically, I would not play this game until I was like 20 years old or so. I think 22. It was Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection for the Xbox 360 when I first played this game. However, I do recall this being one of our Genesis games that we had growing up, and I would watch my dad play this game a lot. However, I never played this game back when we owned a Genesis. Well, when we first owned a Genesis. I do own a Genesis now, but I digress. Anyways, this section's not too bad. I did this game after Altered Beast because it's quick and easy. And just for a forewarning, I actually had to record narration after the game. The game just couldn't stop lagging when I was recording audio. When I was recording a live commentary, and I tended to talk an awful lot. You know, the idea is to space out the commentary carefully so I could sync it up, but I talked too much, so I couldn't synchronize my dialogue with this. Anyways, the thing is, you want to actually brake before going through the entrances and exits of each cave. And out in the desert, you want to pretty much hug the top screen as much as possible. Brake before the entrances and clear out the enemies on the other side before entering. And then you want to hug either the far left or the far right sides of the screens, and only move up and down when it's called for. This is a very sloppy playthrough of the second level, and I honestly think they should swap the second and third levels, because the obstacles in the second level single-handedly make it tougher than the obstacles in level 3. And you'll actually see, and you might actually see this, but enemies in their fire and their shots can actually phase through obstacles while yours can't. See, I'm just hitting the pillars and I'm not attacking or destroying anything. Your bullets don't phase through obstacles, but theirs do. This boss, through all intents and purposes, is probably even easier than the first boss. I just hate those hovering bullet things. You really have no idea if you're even avoiding them, and they just keep firing. But if you can avoid that initial homing blast, you can basically phase through this in record time. There are only 3 targets, and it's stationary. So that's the boss. Yeah, if you go all the way down, you will land on the ground and will be stationary. You can also hold B to pull the brakes and stop moving, or during the horizontal sections, you go backwards. That will only really come into effect in the final level, by the way. The going backwards. You know, there really isn't much else to go off with this game. All you really need to know is that for a perfect game, you just have to beat the game, and I theorize being a perfect game would be beating the game on 1 continue. Now that's a challenge, even with the 30 lives code I did at the beginning of the game. And for the record, you actually need to do the level select code. I chose level 2, simply because it's a little faster. Yeah, this is definitely really sloppy, even by level 2 standards, and I tend to die a lot on this stage. I did make it all the way through to level 4 on 7 lives once, but I decided to record this playthrough anyways because I actually like this better. It's a cleaner run than run 2. How ironic. Level 4, more than anything, is the reason why I do the 30 lives code. Level 4 is that tough. It will just kick your ass non-stop. Yeah, I braked a little. I have no idea what hit me there. I think it was the rocket launchers there. Yeah, this is an insanely sloppy overhead section. I usually don't die in this section. I actually think this section is technically easier than the top down in level 1. Just the rest of the level is so much harder by comparison. Anyways, that's level 2. Now level 3. It could be argued that this level might actually be easier than level 1. I think it's a little tougher because the obstacles here shoot at you. And the final top-down section can actually be a little tough to survive. But the reason why you could counter this is because even though the obstacles, and this is the only stage in the game where the obstacles fire back at you, they're not just obstacles you have to avoid, they actually shoot you. But they're very small, and there are no buildings, there are no cave entrances and exits, there are cave walls, pillars, nothing. They're just those battleships, and they're very easy to avoid. And ironically enough, this is still a sloppy playthrough. You might not notice, at the beginning it's pretty fine. I don't think I die at the beginning portion, but I do die twice during the boss. And you know, avoiding this fire is a lot easier, but you know, I landed on the ground there. Which doesn't even make any sense because it's water. So yeah, this is kind of a sloppy run too, but it's not too bad. I really wish I can be able to do live commentary while playing this game because I really cannot stand the lag. Yeah, I got a little too bold there. Alright, and I think I died once or twice more before the overhead. Yep, a sloppy third boss. And I do think they probably grouped the levels. The reason why they have the third level placed after level 2 is probably because they judge difficulty and probably take into account the bosses and the overheads. Because if you want to go level 1 all across the board, it's probably easier than any other level, save for the overhead section. Level 2 is pretty brutal, save for the overhead section being easier, and the third level is easier than level 2, say, with the overhead section and the boss being tougher. And then level 4 is just everything's tough. Everything's a pain in the ass to survive in level 4. Like, not even the corner trick on the hardest difficulty works due to the stage layout. And that's actually because it doesn't really work on level 4 and it doesn't really work much a whole lot at all at level 3. I'm sorry, level 2. And I do know that the corner trick does not work at all during the bosses because you actually need to hit them. You have to move around and be able to hit them, and obviously you can't do the corner trick during the overhead sections. But level 4 specifically is the reason why I choose to play this game on the easiest difficulty setting rather than the hardest. Because aside from the cave entrances in level 2, the corner trick does not work at all in the next level. And I got another extra life. You're actually gonna see me run through all my excess lives in level 4. I kid you not, it is that brutal of a level. Level 1 is basically the city, level 2 is the desert and the caves, and level 3 is the ocean. Level 4 is actually the terrorist organization's secret hideout. Well, I just call it the factory, due to, well, the fact that this is clearly constructed like the factory. Anyways, you see those pillars? They're the reason why the corner trick does not work. And technically, you could just swerve back and forth with the corner from one corner to the next and only hover above those pipes. As far as I can tell, the easiest way through this stage on any difficulty is to just hug the top part of the screen at all times. It's not enough to just be at the top of the screen and then move back and forth, because your helicopter is actually constantly moving downward. So you actually have to hold up on the reverse controls, or down when on the normal inverse, just to keep yourself at the top of the screen at all times, because if you edge a little down, you will hit the pipes and die. This boss is more annoying rather than tough, since there are only 2 targets. One of them however, they just move around constantly. I think I'm about to kill this boss really soon. Like, maybe right now. Right there. See? Got it. Anyways, but you can't do the corner trick because of those towers. And your best bet surviving the pipes is to hug the top of the screen at all times. And even then, you've got enemies that are firing at you, and top and up and left to right. Only going left to right is not an easy way to avoid enemy fire, especially if you can't see the enemy fire coming, because the pipes are in the way. The pipes get you killed even when you avoid them. This is how annoying this level is. And you literally can't see enemy fire from the other side of the pipes. And even if you can see the enemy fire, your only option is left and right. Which means you'll probably end up running into the enemy fire anyways. Look, see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 extra lives. That's 9 lives total. You're gonna see me lose a helicopter for a very brief moment soon. I think right about now. See? I lost a helicopter. For what it's worth, I don't lose any more lives, and I actually just gained an extra life right there. So now I have to go through the final top-down section as well as the final boss on just 9 lives. This part is not too tough, but things will get out of control near the end. My strategy is just go left and right as much as possible, but only move in response to enemy fire. But as you move further and further through the stage, you really have no choice but to keep going back and forth. Because you have so much enemy fire you have to worry about. I think I had 1 death, so that's 8 lives left. You get an extra life at like 500,000 points, and then every 1 million points after that, you get another extra life. Alright, so... Alright. Things aren't too bad here, but that's my 2nd life. So I have 7 lives left. Now you have to go for those green things that surrounding the core, and then you have to shoot the core. As far as I can tell, you can't actually shoot the core until those other mini cores are out of the way. I think my B button was stuck, which is why I kept going backwards in spite of having let go. And I lost my 3rd life there. See, I'm just really tense here. 4 lives, but 5 to go. 5 down, 4 to go. And I'm about to beat this game. See? It took me just a little over 21 minutes to do it, but I've beaten the game. And when you believe that's probably my best my best run without using a continue to this very day. And all this without save states, by the way. I don't really have the patience to do save states. Because even though I play this on BizHawk, it is far more interesting and far less time consuming just to play the game through normally and grind for a bit. But with that said, I think we're done here. I'm gonna try to play through a few more games that I owned on that my family owned on the Sega Genesis, and I got the high score, obviously. Obviously, if you clear a stage, you will get the high score by default. But, you know, I'm kind of proud of this run. It's a shame I have to turn this off. I'm not sure about my next Let's Play, so I'll see you then.